You walk into the woods and you feel like the most vulnerable thing in them. No claws, no fangs, skin that tears if a branch scrapes it too hard. But somewhere nearby, a mother bear is making a very different calculation. She is not hiding from you, she is moving closer. For most of human history, this seemed backwards. You were taught that predators fear humans because we carry weapons, because we hunt in groups, because we learned fire. All true. But that is not the whole story. The whole story is stranger. The whole story is that you are so frightening to the rest of the animal kingdom that other mothers use your presence as a bodyguard for their own children. Let's start with the bears. Between 2005 and 2012, a wildlife biologist named Sam Steyert, working with the Norwegian University of Life Sciences, fitted GPS collars on dozens of brown bear mothers in the forests of south central Sweden. He wanted to know something simple. Why do some bear cubs survive their first year and others don't? The answer had nothing to do with food. It had nothing to do with weather. It had to do with where the mothers chose to live during one specific window every year. Here's the problem a mother bear faces every spring. Adult male bears want to mate, but a female can't get pregnant again while she's still nursing last year's cubs. So, some males do something brutal. They kill the cubs. Once the cubs are dead, the mother stops lactating, her body resets, and she becomes available to mate again. Researchers call this sexually selected infanticide. It's a clinical term for something simple and grim, killing the children to force the mother back into the dating pool. In the region Steyert studied, this single behavior was responsible for over a third of all cub deaths every year. So, what do the smart mothers do? They move toward you. Steyert's data showed that mothers who successfully raised their cubs stayed, on average, about 780 meters from human settlements during mating season. The mothers who lost their litters stayed nearly half a kilometer farther away. That gap is not random, it's a strategy. Adult male bears, it turns out, avoid humans far more cautiously than females with cubs do. So a mother bear pushes her family into the uncomfortable zone, the buffer between deep wilderness and human houses, because that buffer is exactly where murderous males refuse to follow. Steyert called it a human shield. The mothers weren't braving danger. They were hiding behind the scariest thing in the forest, you. Once the mating season ends and the threat from males drops, those same mothers pull back into deeper, quieter habitat. The shield was never permanent. It was situational. They used you exactly when they needed you, then let go the moment they didn't. You might be thinking, okay, bears are one thing. Surely a mountain lion doesn't think about humans this way. It does, possibly more than the bears do. In the Santa Cruz Mountains of California, ecologist Justin Sarasi, biologist Justine Smith, and their colleagues at UC Santa Cruz ran an experiment that sounds almost too simple to work. They found puma kill sites using GPS collar data, then planted hidden speakers near the carcasses. When a puma returned to feed, the speaker played one of two things. Either the sound of tree frogs, a neutral background noise the puma had no reason to fear, or the sound of ordinary human conversation, people just talking, the kind of thing you'd hear on a hiking trail. The pumas almost never came back after hearing human voices. They abandoned fresh kills, meat they had already caught, meat they needed, just to get away from the sound of people chatting. Sarasi and his team scaled the experiment up across the whole landscape and found the same pattern in bobcats, skunks, and opossums. The mere sound of a human voice, with no weapon, no scent, no real threat attached to it, was enough to clear animals out of an entire square kilometer of forest. Saratsi's team published this in 2019 Inches, the journal Ecology Letters, and they gave the effect a name that has since spread through the field of ecology, the landscape of fear. Here's the twist, and it's the part that flips everything you assumed about your place in nature. You are not hiding from the apex predators. In most of the world today, you are the apex predator. Pumas, wolves, bears, all of them sit lower on the fear ladder than you do. Researchers studying this pattern across dozens of species call humans a super predator. Not because of raw strength, but because of unpredictability. A lion can guess what a zebra will do. No animal can reliably guess what a human will do. We carry tools that kill from a distance. We show up at any hour. We don't behave like a normal predator is supposed to behave. And unpredictability is exactly what triggers the deepest fear response in the animal brain. And once you are the most feared thing in the ecosystem, other prey species figure out how to use you. This isn't limited to bears. In Yellowstone, moose have been documented giving birth closer to roads, deliberately trading the danger of traffic for distance from grizzly bears, who tend to avoid roadsides. In Ethiopia, mountain Nyala antelope shift their grazing grounds nearer to human settlements, specifically during the season when spotted hyenas are most dangerous to their calves. Different species, different continents, same logic. When you are the scariest thing in the room, everyone smaller than the room's other monsters wants to stand near you. Now picture what this would have meant for your own ancestors, tens of thousands of years ago, sleeping in the open at the edge of a savanna. Let's reconstruct that night. The fire is low. 20 people, maybe 30, are arranged around it in a loose circle. The way anthropologist Polly Weissner has described in her studies of modern hunter-gatherer firelight conversation among the Jew Hoansi of the Kalahari. During the day, this same group spread out across miles of grassland, gathering, tracking, talking. At night, they pull in tight. Someone is always half awake. Someone is always listening. Out in the dark, a leopard moves along the tree line. It has every reason to be efficient about its hunting. Energy spent chasing prey it can't catch is energy it doesn't get back. So it does the math any predator does, instinctively, without words. Easy prey, low risk, normal pursuit. Or this strange, upright, fire-keeping animal that throws sharpened sticks and screams in groups and somehow, against every rule of size and speed, keeps coming back alive from encounters that should have killed it. The leopard chooses the easy prey. It always does. Your ancestors weren't winning fights with leopards. They were winning something quieter and more permanent. They were teaching every predator in range that the fight wasn't worth starting. You weren't just defended by fire and numbers, in other words. You were, without knowing it, broadcasting a kind of fear that rearranged the entire landscape around your camp. Big cats that might have stalked smaller, undefended creatures gave your group's territory a wide berth. Prey animals, sensing that predators avoided you, may have grazed closer to your camp than they would have dared otherwise. The same shield logic that today sends a Yellowstone moose toward a highway or a Swedish bear toward a farmhouse. Your ancestors weren't only surviving the wilderness. In a small, invisible way, they were reshaping who got to walk through it and who didn't. This is also, strangely, a story about the cost of being feared. Researchers studying the landscape of fear have found a darker side to it. Predators that grow too cautious around humans sometimes pay for it in missed meals and lost territory, abandoning good hunting ground simply because people pass through occasionally. Fear is not free for the animal that feels it. It trades calories and opportunity for safety, the same trade every nervous system on Earth makes when a bigger threat enters the picture. Your ancestors caused that trade everywhere they went, often without lifting a spear. So the next time you feel exposed walking through the woods, remember what the data actually says. You're not the easy target you imagine yourself to be. Somewhere out there, a mother with far sharper teeth than yours might be making her own children walk a little closer to you, not because she trusts you, but because everything else is more afraid of you than she is. You walked into the woods feeling like the most vulnerable thing in them. The forest, it turns out, had already decided otherwise.